How are you, Budapest? Jó napot, kedves konzervatív barátaim! Good afternoon, CPAC. It's great to be here. And I'm very honored to address you today. Last November, the world witnessed the rising of the Dutch, the rebellion of the Dutch electorate against the ruling establishment. My party, the Party for Freedom, more than doubled its seats in parliament, and we became by far the biggest party in the Netherlands. And today we are negotiating, forming a new government. And I hope that will succeed. So please allow me to say some words to the Dutch press, because they are very nervous today. In the Dutch newspapers, opening with national newspapers, even on the 8 o'clock news and other news programs, they all say that Wilders kill the negotiations by speaking for CPAC today. And I have to disappoint them. I will not do that, because winning the elections, becoming the biggest party, comes along with a big responsibility. And the responsibility I have is to my country and to my people. So to the Dutch press, if you're only interested in that, please go home. My friends, a lot of people ask me, how did we do that? Win the elections in Holland? And I'm here to tell you. But let me first emphasize that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. Not just Dutch giants. Heroes as Pim Fortuyn or Theo van Gogh, both murdered in my country as martyrs of freedom. But also some of our and your heroes, such as the great Ronald Reagan, who in 1974, exactly 50 years ago, gave the inaugural speech at the first ever CPAC meeting. And much has changed in the last 50 years. Much has changed for the better, such as the liberation of Eastern Europe. But much, unfortunately, has also changed for the worse. New and serious threats have emerged. And that is why CPAC is still necessary. Indeed, it is more needed than ever. Winston Churchill, another giant of the West, once said, and I quote, "Courage is the greatest virtue because it guarantees all the rest," end of quote. And Churchill was right. Courage leads to bravery, and bravery is the prerequisite for victory. And that, my friends, is exactly why I have come to Budapest. To encourage you, to call you to bravery, to support you in your way and your route to victory. And I am extremely happy by doing so in Hungary, the country of my beloved wife Christina, and the country of my dear friend Viktor Orbán, who I just met. Prime Minister Orbán is a brave leader who proudly stands for his country and the Judeo-Christian values of his people. He protects Hungarians against illegal immigration. And I wish more European leaders would follow his immigration policy today. And that's really necessary, because I believe there are two great existential threats that we are facing today. One is internal and one is external. First, there is wokeism, cultural relativism, the predominant idea in most of the academia and media that there are no objective truths, no loyalty, no freedom, no nation, no family. Everything to them is subjective. Everything is relative. Everything is interchangeable and without value. And that is the message of the leftish elites. They, the left, have sold so many countries out when they were in charge. They have eliminated their national sovereignty. They sometimes even wrecked its economy. They abolished its national currency. They destroyed its farmers. They ruined its middle class. They perverted the education of children. And last but not least, they have opened our borders for mass immigration and immigrants from an entirely different cultural background. And that brings me to the external threat, which is demographic. The writing is on the wall. The population of Africa is bound to quadruple its present 1.4 billion to almost 5 billion by the end of the century. And 1/3 of them wants to move abroad and come to Europe. And in the past 50 years, governments have inundated us with mass immigration. Often not real refugees, but unskilled illegal immigrants and fortune seekers. Today, many of them are young, single men, not only from Africa, but also from Asia. And these immigrants do not benefit our societies. They cost us money and are an enormous strain on Europe's welfare system. Europe indeed today is facing an enormous immigration and asylum crisis, because despite the massive cost, mass immigration was never discouraged. On the contrary, mass immigration was encouraged, seen as an enrichment by cultural relativists. Look around you. But luckily, not in Budapest, but look around you in the most of Europe. There are neighborhoods that have almost become no-go zones, territories where our women and daughters are no longer safe, and our Judeo-Christian values have totally disappeared. Look around you, and you can see people waving the flags of Hamas and Islamic Jihad and shouting anti-Semitic messages in many European capitals after the massacre of innocent Israeli civilians on October 7 last year. And it's no surprise. The Arab Center of Research and Policy Studies shows that 67% of the Arab world consider this barbaric massacre legitimate. My friend, 2024 does not only mark the 50th anniversary of the first CPAC conference, but also the 20th year that I lost my personal freedom. 20 years ago, in 2004, I had to flee my home because Islamic fanatics put me on their death list. For 2 decades now, my wife and I have been living in army barracks, in prison cells, in government safe houses, under 24/7 police protection, only in order to stay alive. Why? The reason is that I dare to criticize Islam. Mullahs and imams have put many fatwas on my head to kill me. But we never give in to totalitarianism. We never give in to violence. We never give in to death threats. Our freedom of speech is sacred, and we never ever compromise with the truth. Never. And the truth is that many European nations today are overrun with more and more illegal immigrants and asylum seekers, more than we can handle. So why did we allow this? Why have we not stopped it? Which people have voted for this ridiculous policy? Why did politicians all over Europe refuse to do their duty and speak out against this madness? My friends, in the 1955 inaugural issue of National Review, Bill Buckley famously wrote, and I quote, "A conservative is someone who stands throughout history yelling, 'Stop.'" And here, my friends, we get to the heart of the matter, the explanation of the great electoral success of the Party for Freedom in the Netherlands. Unlike other parties in the Netherlands, we had the courage to stand throughout history and yell, "Stop." We dare to yell, "Stop." We have always said the truth, never stayed silent. We have stood by our people, and we always will. We have never abandoned our beliefs, and we never will. My party has always refused to follow in the mold of politicians such as the French President Macron or the former German Chancellor Merkel and many others who opened their borders, impoverishing and endangering the people and diluting Europe's Judeo-Christian and humanistic culture and civilization. We have always defended our people. We have constantly yelled "Stop" at the bureaucrats in Brussels when they wanted more and more federalism and less of our national sovereignty. We yelled "Stop" to the wokeness which politicians out of the West try to impose to the common people and their children. We have always yelled "Stop" to their open border policies. And now, finally, sick and tired of being ignored, sick and tired of the trampling on their values and everything they hold dear, the Dutch people cried, "Enough is enough." They said "Stop" at the elections. They said "Stop" and they flocked to us. Almost 25% of the Dutch voters, 2.5 million people, backed us because they understood that we and we alone have always been on their side. And here is my message to you, brave conservatives who are standing throughout history, yelling "Stop." My message to you is that if you yell "Stop" at these ridiculous policies, millions of decent, good citizens will join you because they have had enough, because they want to save the future of their children and live in dignity in their own land. And that, my friends, is why you should take courage. Continue the good fight. Finish the course. Keep the faith. Realize that you stand on the shoulders of giants and be the champions of the truth. Because, as George Washington once said, and I quote, "Truth will ultimately prevail where there is pains taken to bring it to light." I believe in our mission. I believe in our people. I believe in you. Together we have the strength of masses, cultural conservatives who defend national sovereignty, who defend Judeo-Christian values, are today on the rise in Europe, getting stronger and stronger every day. And we will continue to force to stop illegal immigration. And we will, I can promise you that, as long as good conservatives If we yell stop at the right moment, the people will follow us and we will win more and more elections. Good luck to you and thank you for inviting me. Thank you.